Okay, so right now what we're going to talk about is frequency tables and histograms. So you have your notes, make sure that they are cut up just like you see here. We have our title here. We got our little strip that tells us how to make a histogram. I do have 3 flaps right here. Only the top part is glued down. And then I have my large graph over here, or histogram. I have my data set here. And then I have my frequency table. So we'll get to that. I just wanted to show you this, okay? So let's zoom in and focus on exactly what is a histogram. So what I have here is a histogram displays the data using bars of different heights. So you might be thinking, well, wait a minute. Doesn't a bar graph display data using bars of different heights? Which it does, and a histogram is similar to a bar graph, but there are some differences. There's some similarities, but there's also some differences. So I want to compare and contrast just what a bar graph looks like and histogram. So we're familiar with bar graphs. So if I go back in my notes to concept 49 right here, bar graph. So this was about your favorite fruits, and you had apples, oranges, bananas, and strawberries, and we had 12 people that voted that apples were their favorite fruit. So we have a category, apples, and it's just a count in that category. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 12. 12 apples, 11 oranges, 8 bananas, 16 strawberries. So it's one category for each one of these bars. Now that's one thing that I want you to write down about bar graphs, is that bar graphs data is represented as a count in a category. So I want you to have that down. The next thing is the bars in a bar graph may or may not touch. A lot of times they won't touch, but they can or they can't. Now a histogram. What a histogram, and we'll make our own in just a second, a histogram is continuous data represented in ranges or intervals, and the bars do touch. So I'm going to show you what I mean by the continuous data represented in ranges or intervals when we're making our own. So let's highlight that right now. We got continuous data. That's important. So let's highlight continuous data in ranges or intervals. And the bars do touch right there. And then how exactly are they the same? So we have our Venn diagram here. We've talked about their differences. How are they the same? Well, they're both data that is represented using bars. These bars over here touch. These bars may not touch. This data is a count in a category, where this one is going to be continuous data that's in some intervals or ranges. Okay, so let's make a histogram. So here's how you make a histogram. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to need to make a frequency table. Okay, we're going to divide the data into equal size intervals, and we're going to make a frequency table. So if we had, for instance, right here, we had some heights of students that were in 6th grade. So I'm going to put right here that these are students' heights. Students' height. So we had a student that came in at 55 inches tall, 65 inches tall, 56 inches tall, and all the way. So if you notice here, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17. We have 17 students right here. So we want to make a frequency table. So how you make a frequency table is you are going to split this. It's not a stem and leaf, okay? We are not going to have our stems and our leaves on the right, stems on the left, leaves on the right. So what we do is we want to break this down into some ranges or intervals. So what I did here is, and now your intervals can be different. For instance, I could make intervals of 2 or intervals of 5. Minimum 2, maximum could be 10. You know, you don't want to go too large. It all depends on your data set. So right here, I did intervals of 5. So basically, anyone that is between 50 to 54 inches tall, I'm going to count here. And then I'm going to go up by another 5. So that, that includes 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. So that's 5, and 5 pieces of data that could fall anywhere in 50 to 54. And then I did 55 through 59. So 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 inches. And then I did 60 to 64. I want to keep my intervals the same. So this is 5, 5, 5, and 5. You could have gone up by 2 if you wanted. I could have done 50 to 51, 52 to 53, and done that all the way through. Just kind of depends on what you want to do. So I then counted how many do I have between 50 and 54 inches. So I looked here and I saw that I had 1. There's a 54, so I write 1. So now I count 55 to 59. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6. And then I counted my 60 to 64s. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I feel like I've missed one. Let me double check here. 60 to 64. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I wrote 9. And then 65 to 69, I look, and there's only one right there, 65. So there we are. So here's my frequency table that matches my data. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a histogram. So let me show you how a histogram looks. So this is what the final piece looks like. I want to explain to you how to make this. So what you're going to do first is you got to have a title. So I put my title as student heights, as I have here. So I got student heights. What I did then is down here, what's different is instead of like I was showing you on bar graphs where I'm going to have categories, I'm going to put those same intervals right here. So this is 50 to 54, 55 to 59, 60 to 64 inches, and 65 to 69 inches. Then I've labeled my x-axis, height of 12-year-old in inches. And then I'm going to label my y-axis, which we have right here, that is frequency. And then I'm going to put my frequency. And I went up by 2s in my intervals. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So all I do here is, it kind of looks like a bar graph, but remember what's different is these bars must touch each other. So I got to have my orange touching my green. And this is a range of data. Remember, it's not like apples, bananas, strawberries, oranges. Between 50 and 54 inches tall, there was one student, so I just go up to 1 and close it off. I colored it in because it looks better colored. For 55 to 59, it was 6 students, so here we are at 6. Stop there. Box this in or color that in. For 60 to 64 interval, 60 to 64 inches, we had 9 students. So I come off this here, go up to 9, close it off, color it in. And for 65 to 69 inches, we only had the 1 right here. So off of this, I go just to the 1, and then I color that in. And remember, it's also good practice to put the numbers above. So it's good to put here 1, and then 6, and then 9, and 1. So that's always good practice. So this is how you make a histogram. It's similar to a bar graph, but it will have continuous data. They will have intervals down on the x-axis, and the bars must touch. And don't forget to have your height and have your labels as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to label this as number 53. So down here I have number 53. I also have today's date, which is February the 15th. And then when I go over here to my table of contents, I will have number 53, histograms, and frequency tables right there for you.